use of technology. Like I said, introduction, technology has become an important part of education in the 21st century. Everything about education is the use of technology, both in the teaching process, both in research, in grading, assessments, supervision, and of course, applications around the education is technology. Now, when we say education technology, we mean that education technology is the practice of introducing information technology tools into the classroom, to be able to create a more inclusive and individualized learning experiences. So education technology, one of the things that it brings in the education industry or education sector is to increase student engagement and student experience, and of course, what we call individualized learning. So one of the things that education technology does again is to improve the efficiencies of educators, of teachers, and by improving the efficiencies, teachers is able to act as a facilitator of knowledge, as a guardian, as a coach, no longer as the one who dictates knowledge, because with technologies, students are able to learn on their own, what we call self-directed learning, or what we call independent learning, or what other people can say is individualized learning. So these are just the introduction.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. Professor Ede, sorry to interrupt you, but your voice is breaking, sir. Your voice is breaking.
Okay, maybe it's network. Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Okay, can I reconnect? Yeah, okay. Let me reconnect then. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me now. Hello, Professor, can you hear me? Okay, can you hear me now? Okay. All right, so I will just try to be fast because of the network issues we're experiencing here. So, okay, since you can hear me, I can go on now. So what I'm trying to say is that when we talk about education technology, we are looking at an array of tools, and that includes media, machines, networking, hardware, software, and the rest of them. Now, let's talk about a brief history about this education technology thing. Education technology can be traced back to about 4 ages, you know, the ages of technology development. When we talk about the Stone Age, the Rock Age, the book print and the chalkboard age and mass communication age and all of that. So, but one thing about education technology so far is that the internet revolution actually has expanded the influence of education technology, or the bond between education and the technology. I gave some brief histories there. In fact, in 2019, the market of education technology companies was valued at about 187 billion US dollars. That shows you the extent to which the market for education technology is growing. And as at last year, it was projected that the market for education technology is going to hit 404 billion US dollars in 2025. So that shows you that the market for education technology research is very huge. It is a green area that someone can venture into, and a whole lot of things like that. Now, there was this research that was done as contained in bulletin.com, that 92% of teachers believe that technology is going to have a major impact on the way they educate in the near future. So all this research has proven the fact that the need for education technology research will continue to grow over time. This research was done in the United States, and 92% of teachers believed that that technology is going to play a more important role in how they educate in the future. So that means that more people will be demanding for use of education technology. Now let's look at the scope of education technology. The scope of education technology. Can you turn the slide now? The scope of education technology. Can you turn the slide? Okay. Now, the next slide, please. Okay. Education technology basically can be seen into 3 different scopes. Number one, you can say education technology as a theory and practice of approaches to learning. Then number 2, you can look at education technology probably as a tool, as a media that assists people. Then you can look at it as a learning management system, which is reigning all over the places now, learning management system. And thirdly, you can look at education technology as a subject, as a course that is being taught in programs in the universities or in schools. Now, looking at education technology as a theory and a practice, normally people can come up, there are different theories that support education technology. Like when you talk about theory of cognitivism, constructivism theory, if you look at those theories very well, theories of learning, you discover that the theorists believe much in use of education technologies in terms of learners' involvement, student-centered learning, that will promote students being at the center of learning and all of that. I'm going to be fast in these areas so that we go into the main thing, which has to do with the research areas now. Then we can look at education technology as different tools. I talked at the beginning here now, things that help people to be able to exchange ideas, share ideas, and carry research and all of that. Then we can look at education technology again as a learning management system. You all know that different universities across the world now have their own learning management system. Here in Coast City University in Nigeria, for instance, we have our own learning management system that we call myccu.edu.ng, and we're able to use it to ensure continued teaching and learning. last year at the peak of COVID-19, because at that time, schools in my country were shut down, but now schools have since opened physically. But our learning management system is still in use, and we're using it for our blended learning, and as I speak. And I know that many other universities across the world are making use of learning management system. This learning management system, of course, involves, is part of an education technology, because students are able to access materials, teachers are able to access materials, professional courses are taken, like when you go to Coursera, Schoolology, Blackboard, Easy Learn, and a whole lot of them that are popular out there. These are part of education technology. Then we can look at education technology in terms of a subject or a course. In some schools across the world, education technology is offered as a course of study that students take it as a degree program for 4 years here in my country, for instance. Then again, it's taken as a subject that people take as part of the courses they must pass in their areas of study. So these are the areas of education technology. Then the next slide, let's look at the importance of this education technology. For instance, one of the things, the next slide, we said that education technology enriches, that it enhances the reach. It enhances the reach and effectiveness of teaching and learning. I've talked about that. Nowadays, when you inculcate education technology in the teaching and learning process, it brings about proactiveness. It enhances learner inclusiveness, like the way I talked about it before. Students can get involved, students can learn. It takes learning outside the classroom. People are able to learn even on their own, in their rooms, on the way, on the go. People can learn. That's what we call ubiquitous learning. Ubiquitous learning. People can learn from everywhere. Then we talk about the add value. It adds value to teaching and learning and research activities. You will agree with me, especially in this time of learning and working from home. People are able to use education technology to carry out research from where they are. And at the same time, people are able to use it to engage their students, to communicate with their students, to guide their students, to counsel their students and the rest. Then I said it takes education beyond borders, beyond wall of classroom. I've talked about that with education technology, learning is everywhere. Learning can be enhanced anytime, any day. Then, of course, we talked about the paradigm shift from moving teaching from teacher-centered to learner-centered. What are we saying? With the aid of this education technology, students can learn on their own, and at the same time, they can query or they can study ahead. There's this concept of flipped learning, flipped classroom, whereby students can have access to materials prior to classes, and then they're able to read it ahead, and then before the classroom, they're able to read it, and then they can now discuss it together with the teacher. That's the concept of flipped classroom or flipped learning. Education technology is playing a role in this direction. Teachers, student-centered. Students can now take ownership of their own learning. Then, of course, we say that learning experience, I've talked about it, problem-based learning, problem solving, problem-oriented learning. The world education system is moving towards problem-based learning, where students' critical thinking skills are being sharpened, and students are able to engage in problem-based learning to solve problems within their communities, within their environment. Education technology is making this to happen. For instance, when we talk about the concept of inquiry-based learning, inquiry-based teaching, all these are embedded in problem-based learning, whereby students are given problems in groups, and then students are able to solve these problems head-on. Students are able to engage in research activities during inquiries, and this is helping students' participation in the teaching and learning process, is making learning to be more robust, and all that. Education technology is playing a role in this direction. Then we talk about employability skills and entrepreneurship. As you all know, that today's education curriculum is moving towards entrepreneurship. Every educational institution is thinking about employability school, employability after graduation from school, and that is why more learners' involvement is being canvassed. So what we are saying here is that with education technology, students employability can engage in professional courses in computer science, for instance. People can do CCNA from anywhere. They can do Oracle and a whole lot of other professional courses, Cisco and the rest of them, Microsoft, Azure and the rest of them. People can do it from the comfort of their zone, and the employability skills can improve because employers are looking for these professional courses. And of course, entrepreneurship. Students can work and study using technology, concept of distance learning. Distance learning, online learning is made possible with this education technology and the rest of them. Then we can talk about customization and personalization of teaching and learning. So you have students with special needs. People can, with education technology, use of machine learning algorithms, KNN algorithms, ANN algorithm, and the rest of them. People are able to predict learning outcomes, and you're able to discover at-risk students using some of these AI-based algorithms. And people are you able to customize learning to help at-risk students to be able to get over it, to be able to overcome their weaknesses. So these are some of the things that education technology is able to do. Then hybrid learning, I've talked about the concept of hybrid learning, whereby blended learning, whereby you can join both online learning and physical learning. These are made possible with education technology. Then we talk about computational thinking. The concept of computational thinking, when you use emerging advanced technologies now, concept of machine learning algorithm, like I have talked about, and a whole lot of them is enhancing computational thinking, where people are developing innovations that are making machines to think like human beings, to learn very fast, work on data, predict data, and they analyze behaviors of system and the rest of them. Very, very important. Then we can talk about all of these, the importance, which we have talked about. And from the slide you can see on your screen now, you said that this influence of education technology tools are changing classroom in a variety of ways. We talk about robots or robotics, they are helping. And of course, education technology may not cause complete changes in training in education, but are necessary for innovation and improvement. So what I'm trying to say is that education technology is not necessarily going to replace a great teacher. No, it's not going to replace the school. No. But education technology in the hand of a great teacher is going to be transformational, is wonderful, it's going to bring a lot of improvement. But mind you, education technology cannot replace the teacher. It cannot replace the school totally as at now, and I don't know in the near future, but it is going to improve the process, making the teacher to be more effective, making the school to be more responsive to the learner's needs, and all of that. Next slide, please. Let's look at some technology companies that are doing a whole lot of them are there online. The next slide. Then you talk about Newsla and the rest of them. You can see them from your screen. Schoolology. The next slide. Yeah, Schoolology, Coursera, Newton, Cheng, Duolingo, Masterclass, Google, Udemy. These are education technology companies. A whole lot of them. They have a lot of good learning management systems that are helping educational institutions, even Microsoft 360 and the rest of them. A lot of people are making use of these technologies. Even cloud computing nowadays is helping educational institutions in storage and a whole lot of them. So all these companies are doing wonderfully well. Because of time, I don't have to go through all of them. But these education technology companies vary from countries to countries. For instance, in my country here, people are more acclimatized with Coursera, Blackboard, Udemy, Schoolology, Google Classroom, and the rest of them. These are things we are using. And of course, Zoom that we are using. These are part of education technology, video conferencing tools, as the case may be. Then let's look at the current trends in education technology. Current trends in education technology. I'm looking at the research areas. What are those trends that people want to see in education technology? The next slide. Now, if you look at it, number one, people are looking for technologies that will actively engage and motivate students to learn. Now, one of the things that educators, teachers, or education administrators are wondering about is how can you motivate students to learn effectively? How do you motivate students to learn? So people are now looking at research in education technology, emerging areas now of research in education technology. People want to have technologies that can be able to motivate students to be able to learn. And that is why you see people going into game research and the rest of them, things that can promote the interest of students in a subject, things that can promote the interest of students in a program. That is what the research direction now. So if you want to engage in education technology research, can you come up with technologies or innovations that can motivate students' interest in a particular course, because that is one of the challenging things for educators. Some educators will do all they can to motivate the students. Schools will put up the infrastructures, but you will still see some students performing very poor. So we are looking at how can we come up with solutions, technological solutions that can motivate learners to be able to learn, to be able to develop interest in several courses. Then again, technologies that will address different specific concepts and subjects. For instance, people are looking at customized technologies that is based on certain areas of subject or concept that will address the problem. For instance, mathematics, for instance, we want to see software, mathematics software that is basically on mathematics that can help people to learn mathematics or sciences from home. Because during this sit at home, learning from home, one of the areas of education technology, one of the areas of technology that's affected now is practical education. People are looking at how do you sit at home and do chemistry practical, and do physics practical, and do biology practical. How do you sit at home and do musical practical? So people are looking at that area, innovations, technologies that will be able to help people to engage in practical-based courses like sciences or other social sciences that requires practical. That was a gap during the peak of COVID-19 sit at home, because laboratories, computer lab, how do you teach computer program from home? These are the things, the areas of technology that people are looking at. Those technologies that will be able to, address those gaps that cannot be met presently in online education. Then people are also looking at AI-based systems in education. This is another area of research that is emerging. Now, how can you, be able to deal with some of these emerging challenges in education using AI? Artificial intelligence has a lot of potentials. Now, people are looking at more research in AI that is affordable, that people can afford. So these are some of the areas that is very interesting. If you want to go into education technology research, talk about artificial intelligence. There's a huge potential. Artificial intelligence based, be it expert systems, be it AI-based systems, IoT-based systems, and a whole lot of them, Internet of Things-based systems, and a whole lot of them. They are the areas that people want to look at presently. Then people are looking at also assistive technologies. Assistive technologies are those technologies that can help, those that can assist both educators and students to perform their work better. And particularly those in need, particularly special students with special need. So even though there's a growing research in assistive technology, more is needed to accommodate some set of special students so that they can be involved. Students with disabilities, they need more technologies that will enhance, more software, more hardware that can help them to be able to acquire education, to attain their educational dreams. Then we are looking at simulation software as well. These are another areas of research, simulations that can help students. For instance, people have come up with flight simulators and a whole lot of them. So can we have more simulators in various subjects, in various programs, more simulators in computer science, more simulators in mathematics, more simulators in education, more simulators in many other courses that can help people to be able to practicalize teaching and learning. And that is why things like virtual reality, or augmented reality, VR and the AR, augmented reality technologies, they are helping in this direction. So more research is needed in augmented realities, in virtual realities, kind of reducing it in such a way that it is affordable, that people can acquire augmented reality devices, virtual reality devices that can help the teacher to do better, that can help the student to understand a subject better. These are the areas that are of course, in trend. And then we talk about grading systems. Now there is so much development in terms of online software. But now, how can we grade and make sure that we grade very well? So assessment software that can help the teachers to assess or grade the students. People need more. We need more efficient software, more efficient applications that can help the teacher to grade the students. Okay, So these are the ones, more areas that still requires a research. Mind you, now most of the online learning or online examination systems are by proxy, and this exposes them to examination malpractices. So another area of research that people want to see has to do with how do you strengthen the security, the integrity of online examinations, integrity of online assessments. So these are areas of research that are trendy. We need to do more research that can be able to strengthen the grading systems online in such a way that students will be able to cheat or practice examination malpractices at ease. So software or applications or technologies that can help to monitor students during examinations, particularly online, these are the areas that are very helpful. Of course, you can also talk about cybersecurity. Cybersecurity threat are a global threat now, is the global concern. How everybody is transiting to online education, but people are not talking much about protecting education data. Now, how do you protect education data? Very, very important. How do you protect it? It's very, very important. So there's more research needed in cybersecurity to protect education data, to protect learning management systems, to protect university websites, to protect institutional data, educational institutional data, or student data, or educators' data. More research is needed in information security. Information security, more more research is needed in this direction. Then let's quickly look at this again. We talk about development of massive open online courses, MOOC is more research is needed in that direction to make sure that we have more open access online content, MOOC, massive open online courses that can be available for people. There's a lot of them online now, but of course more is needed, more updated one is needed. More learning management systems are needed. If you want to take some courses on Coursera, Blackboard, Udemy, you find that it's very expensive. So we need more competitors. We need more learning management system that will compete with the existing one to make it cheaper and accessible for people to do professional courses or to access learning materials. Then we need more educational apps, again, that will work on mobile devices. You know that the penetration of mobile devices is very high, particularly in this part of the world, in developing countries. Mobile technologies is penetrating very high. I've done a couple of researches on this area. Now, how do we maximize mobile technologies for education? So we need more mobile learning devices, more mobile applications that students can use to promote teaching. Then, of course, we need educational games. Educational games can appeal to younger learners, to young students, to be able to promote their interest in learning. So more research is needed in educational games. Then conferencing tools. Now we have a lot of video conferencing tools now, but more is needed because the world is moving. We need more conferencing tools that will consume less data, that is less expensive, that is more affordable to everybody. So people need it. More research is needed in that. People built Google Meet, Google Classroom, Zoom, Blue Jeans, and the rest of them, but we need more. We need our students, we need our educators, we need our researchers to develop more video conferencing tool that is education bound, that people can use, especially in terms of emergencies, in terms of parallel or unplanned closure of schools like we have it for COVID-19 now. Then, of course, we need collaborative software that can make it easier for educator from India to collaborate with the educator from my country, Nigeria, from Africa, or from any part of the world, from United States and UK. So more software, more collaborative software are needed. And therefore, more research is needed in collaborative software. Then, of course, we have on-screen marking software. This research in this area are still very novel. We need more on-screen marking software that can help educators to mark or grade students on the screen at ease, and a whole lot of them like that. So, and so many other software that are listed. Virtual reality, like you can see in one of the pictures in the slide, we need that. Augmented reality, virtual realities, we need more research in that direction. I hope you can hear me. Then, of course, other from here now, we look at technologies that can impart that has potential impact on education technology research. We have talked about different areas that you can carry out research in education technologies. Now, let's look at some of these technologies that may likely influence education technology research. Top on the list is AI, artificial intelligence. Of course, artificial intelligence is definitely going to influence education technology research. So if you are very serious about education technology research, you must be able to have a knowledge of AI. Very, very important, because most of your software and application, if they are AI based, they will be very powerful, they will be easier to use, and they will be intelligent indeed. And that is what people require now. That is what the market, education technology market requires. AI-based systems that are intelligent, that can detect, that can predict, that can help. Then we talk about machine learning, learning analytics. This technology is going to influence education technologies research. Like we talked about ANN algorithm, forest algorithm, KNN algorithm, convolutional neural network, deep learning, and the rest of them. All this is very key in any emerging system and software now, because it is going to help for functionality, for effectiveness. Then, of course, we talk about augmented reality. Yes, augmented reality, AR, and virtual reality is improving learners' experience, teaching experience, is promoting teaching excellence. So, of course, it's going to help a lot going forward. So knowledge of it is going to influence education technology research. Then robotics. Robotics is doing wonderfully well in education now. In one of the slides here, I included the picture. So with robots, it is going to help, and robotics is going to influence education technology research. So why not develop interest in that area? Then blockchain technology, yes. Blockchain technology is changing a lot of things, particularly education technology data going forward. Blockchain is going to play more key role, because now a lot of emphasis are placed on developing software, mobile application, learning management system, but not much is being done about security of those things. Because of the massive transition to online education, there is increase of cybersecurity attack, security threats in the education sector. So the research I did recently confirmed that to me. One of the research I did recently is, I'm just about publishing it now in an IEEE transaction. So you find out that if you look at data, statistics, since 2019, you find out that cybersecurity attack has increased in the education sector, because now a lot of people have moved their resources to the cyberspace. So cyber criminals, of course, has turned the cyberspace into a playing ground. And because of that, a lot of educational institutions, resources, databases, websites, learning management systems, student data, and all of that is under attack by cybersecurity attackers now, cybersecurity traitors. So more research is needed in this direction, and blockchain is going to play a role in strengthening, the security of our education data. Then, of course, Internet of Things, IoT. IoT is going to influence a lot of things. When we talk about smart education, IoT is going to play a role, because IoT, artificial intelligence, is going to play a major role in smart education. When we talk about smart education, producing smart devices, IoT-based devices, that is going to motivate learners to learn, or motivate educators to teach, that is going to improve the effectiveness of teaching and learning or practical education. IoT is going to play that role. Then we talk about computer vision. Computer vision is an area, imaging, use of animation and a whole lot of them. Computer graphic, computer vision is going to play more role. Use of animations, use of different imaging, image processing, language and the rest of them is going to play a very vital role in education technology research. So as an educator or as a scientist or a researcher, you need to pay attention to some of these technologies, because sooner than later, they are going to influence what you do. They're going to influence your research. I've talked about artificial intelligence, machine learning, virtual reality, augmented reality, robotics, blockchain technology, Internet of Things, IoT, which is having great impact on health. We have Internet of Medical of Things now, IOMT, and the rest of them like that. Then wearable technologies, which is also part of IoT. Wearable technologies that are smart enough that can be used for education purposes. These are things that are going to influence education technology research. Then in internet technology as a whole, internet will continue to play a major role in education technology research because most of the education technology hardware or software we are producing will require the use of the internet. And look at the lecture we are having now. If this internet is not strong enough, this lecture cannot be possible. It cannot be effective. So internet is going to play a role. And people are not just going to study the internet, but look at how to improve safety in the internet. Safety of users of the internet and the whole lot of them, and information on the internet is very key. Then of course, enhanced video media technologies. People are looking at ways to bring practicality to education. So more video-based instruments and devices is going to be helpful going forward. Now let's look at the next slide where I talked about the challenges for education technology research. The next slide. Challenges for education technology research. Now, one of the enduring difficulties about technology and education, according to Dr. Martha Stone of Harvard Graduate School, is that a lot of people think about the technology first and the education later. So people tend to think about technology first before thinking about education. And that is a challenge. If you are thinking about technology, you must think about education. They are interwoven, because you cannot design technology before applying it to education. You need to look at aspect of education that you want to apply your education technology research, and make sure it's just like designing a model. You need to understand the problem before building a model. You don't build a model and then force the problem into it. That model may not be valid. So one of the problems now is that people just produce technology without looking at the learner's need, the teacher's need, the institutional need for such a technology. So there's need for problem definition. When you are going into research in education technology, what has problem in education do you want to tackle with your software? You need to carry out survey, you need to carry out interview of potential users of that system. Make sure you understand their need so that the technology you are coming up with will meet both the ethical clearance, ethical need, professional standard, the protocols, interoperability standard, and the rest of them. Security, all these things need to be put into consideration. Then procrastination is one of the challenges. People who want to go into education technology research, they keep postponing it. I want to do it tomorrow. Procrastination, they say, unquote, is a theft of time. Anything you want to do today, there's no need for you to postpone it tomorrow, because tomorrow has its own goals. So if you want to engage in education technology research, start today. If an educational institution want to promote education technology research, they need to put the infrastructures in place today. Make sure that it is in place instead of postponement, because that will help the scientists, the researchers, to be able to find the resources they need to engage in such research. Then pessimism. Pessimism is another challenge. People, before going to anything, they already concluded that they are not going to make it, that they will not excel. So that becomes a challenge. So whenever you want to go into education technology research, you need to be optimistic. You need to be optimistic. You need to be positive. From the school of thought, positivism, very, very important. You need to be positive on what you do. You need to believe that it's going to work, that this research is going to sell, the market will embrace it. Even though it is important that you carry out your feasibility study very well before any research. Feasibility study is very key, which we all know in system development. So pessimism is affecting people's progress in research generally. For instance, if you do a research and it's rejected, you want to publish in IEEE Access, you want to publish in MDPI, you want to publish in SVIA, in IMPACT, Scopus, or SI, good top SI, Routledge, and the rest of them, Science Direct, Plus One, and the rest of them, good journals that are very, very important. Now, and you already, because of rejections, you're already pessimistic, you are not going to make it, your paper is not going to accept it. There's no way. You just have to keep trying. Don't give up. Before you know it, all of us, we have all been rejected one time or the other. Myself, I've been rejected a couple of times, but today I have a couple of publications in SVIA, in the IEE, and the rest of them. But when I started, I was also rejected. So you don't need to be pessimistic. You need to be positive about this research. You need to believe in it. Look at Google, look at Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg. When they started Facebook, you know the story behind it. And they started today, they are one of the biggest tech companies in the world. But when they started, it wasn't easy. WhatsApp and the rest of them. Now, time is another thing. Many researchers, particularly in the education system, are struggling with time, especially in this COVID-19 era. They are struggling. Time to teach, especially for some educators that have heavy workloads or that are involved in a lot of other activities, administrative activities. For instance, myself as a head of department where I work or director of ICT in my university, I have to do administrative activities. I have to teach, I have to carry out research, I have to go for conferences, I have to give talk and all of that. So time is one of those factors that affect the progress of educational technology research. Then we talk about lack of knowledge and skill. For you to be able to excel in education technology research, you need these skills that we mentioned. Artificial intelligence skills, robotic skills, virtual reality skills, and a whole lot of them that I mentioned. So a lot of people want to go into this research, but they don't have the research skill. They don't have what it takes. So there's need for training for educational institutions to invest more on the professional development of their staff and even their students to make sure that they have the modern day skills that is needed. For instance, if you want to do some researches in computer science, you need Python programming skill, machine learning skills. These skills, if you don't have them, you don't have them. So there's need for more training, for more professional development program for people to be able to catch up. Then the problem of digital divide. Digital divide is a problem in third world countries, in developing countries, in Nigeria, in my country, in Africa, in many other countries in Asia. You find out that technology is not evenly distributed. Access to technology is limited. Availability of technology is limited. In some schools in rural areas, they don't even have internet. They don't even have laboratories. They don't even have computers. How do those ones go into education technology research? It becomes a challenge. So digital divide is a problem, and government all over the world has to do more to provide the enabling environment, enabling facilities that will promote education technology research. Very, very important. Then lack of incentive, I understand in some universities across the world, incentive research grants are given for research. This can go a long way to promote researchers. When you give them grants for their publications, grant for research, that will promote them to do competitive research, particularly in education technology. But in many universities across the world, they lack the capacity, especially private universities. They lack the capacities to give grants to their researchers, to their scientists. So this is affecting the quality of education technology research. So more has to be done in terms of this direction to invest more. Government, countries, states, educational institutions has to invest more in research by giving more grants to researchers to be able to promote their research. Then regulations. In some climes, regulations is a challenge to research because whatever research you want to do, you need to fall into standard. You need to fall into national regulations. Like when you talk about UGC and the rest of them, I don't know much about it, but there are things you need to do. You must fall in line with the national regulation. So sometimes it can be hindrance. Before you get the clearances you need to be able to proceed these researches, it becomes a challenge. People get discouraged and a whole lot of them. Then financing problem, money. I have said it when I was talking about research. So people may not have the necessary resources to invest in this education technology research unless if they have sponsorship from tech organizations or corporations or organizations that that can promote the work they do. Because education technology research is not free, it's not cheap. So you need resources. For instance, if you want to build robots now, you need the resources that you need to buy some of the materials that you need to be able to come up with it. So these are some of the things that that can actually hinder education technology research. Then, according to Specto 2013, it said that emerging educational technologies and research directions. Emerging education technologies and research directions. That the implication for schools really are groundbreaking, that it is significant that transformation is needed to occur if schools is to be responsive to the need. So what Spector was trying to say is that it is important that schools transform themselves to be able to respond to need for emerging technology research, which is very, very important. Please, can we go to the next slide now? The summary, very key, the summary. Okay, thank you. From my summary here, number one, I said that technology has changed from being peripheral factor to becoming more central in education. The fusion of technology and education is making headway for better and more inclusive future. What am I saying? Gone are the days when you think technology to be a peripheral, something that can be attached. No, technology is key now. It's a key component of education. So every educational institution must embrace education technology research. They have to promote their staff to be able to engage in it, and they need to invest more resources to acquire more educational technology resources so that they'll be able to compete in the 21st century. Then we said that EduTech, as is popularly called, is the incorporation of the internet and other technology for experience. Of course, I've talked about it. You will agree with me that the most compelling topic among educators today is educators who embrace education, technology today is to transform teaching and learning, and not about technology at all, but about the students. So every educational institution, educator, want to make the student at the center of the teaching and learning. So in order to do that, you need to involve technology. Technology is a great partner. Technology is a great partner, not just in education, but in every sphere of life. Technology has become a great partner. So make use of it. It has a lot of potentials. That's what I'm saying here. And again, I said that researchers must strive to develop eco-friendly products to help preserve our planet and save it from climate change. Very important. I use the opportunity again, as we develop educational technology, softwares, applications, or hardware, we must do more to make sure that these technologies are eco-friendly, that they will not destroy our planet. You know, wildfires all over the world now, flooding all over the world as a result of climate change and all that. So as we develop these technologies, we need to make sure that we do green computing, which is an aspect of technology that preaches the use of eco-friendly materials or systems that can preserve our internet and also help us to achieve our aim. In conclusion, I would say that research in education technology will continue to remain a green or relevant area. It is never going to die. It will continue. Research in education technology will continue to make headways. It will continue to remain green. If you decide to go into research in education technology, you will not regret it. It is profitable. It is worth doing because the need for education technology will continue to grow. It will continue to grow. It is never going to drop because more educational institutions are embracing technology. More university systems or educational systems policies are tailored towards technology usage in education. Now, I will conclude with this. The future of education will largely be influenced by technology. This means that everyone should be ready to innovate. So as an educator, as a student, you need to do more to embrace technology because it represents the future, even after graduation. If you want to be able to advance your career as an educator, as a student, you need to embrace technology. You need to embrace education technology. It is very, very important because that is the way to go. So the future of education technology will be algorithm-driven. Teachers will only know how students learn best, but various applications of technology will let students know what they need to study next. So thank you very much for this opportunity to deliver this lecture, and I'm open to questions. So in my conclusion, I'm grateful for this opportunity. And research in education technology, like I've said, is very green, is very promising, and is very relevant. It is an area that when you do research on it, you will never regret it. It is worth investing by individuals, by educational institutions, by governments, because that area remains an emerging area. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Dear participants, if you have any query, please, you can unmute yourself and you can ask.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. First of all, thanks a lot for the wonderful session. So, actually, sir, I have a query that how we can make the e-learning more interactive, like Google Classroom or more LMS platform, how we can make more interactive among the students.
Okay, very important. Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. That's a very brilliant question, Professor. Interactivity is an important part of LMS, because when you design an LMS, you are not designing it for yourself as a developer or as a software builder. You are building it for the students. And like I said, in all part of my lecture, I keep mentioning student-centered learning, student-oriented learning. That should be the goal of an LMS. How do we make it interactive? We need to make it interactive by providing timely feedback, first and foremost. Timely feedback. As an educator, when students drops questions on learning management system, you need to find a way to devote time to provide quality feedback to the students. You know, when you talk about learning management system, it can be synchronous or asynchronous. Synchronous in the sense that when you are doing real-time learning, asynchronous when the platform allows you to drop messages and then students to drop messages, or for you to upload material for student to access later. So it all depends on an aspect of the learning management system. But be it asynchronous or synchronous, you need, as an educator, you need to make sure that you devote time to provide feedback to every student questions. That is one of the ways to make it interactive. Then secondly, try to devote more time again to do synchronous classes with them, classes that you will talk to them directly, they will respond. That way, it is more interactive to them, not just uploading material, asking them to go and download the material and then read it and do assignment and submit. So you can make it real time. That way it can be more interactive. Then again, the quality of the e-content that you upload in learning management systems goes a long way to improve the interaction. For instance, it is advised that when developing your e-content, you need to make use of pictures, images, animations, videos, audios that can help the students to be able to understand some of the things you want them to learn. So gone are the days when people just upload notes, upload PDF alone. No, to make it more interactive, you need to do videos, make videos. You need to make more voice notes. You need to include include animations or pictures that will actually speak to the materials that you have uploaded. And then again, the development of the learning management system has a role to play here. How is it developed? During the development process, how is this structured? If it is not user-friendly, it may be difficult to be interactive in nature. So in developing the learning management system, you need to make sure that it is user-friendly. Both the structure, the interface, the navigation, everything has to be user-friendly for it to be more interactive. So in a nutshell, for it to be interactive, it requires the active participation of the teacher and active participation of the learners. Both of them need to be present. Both of them need to perform their roles in order for it to be interactive. The teacher needs to devote time to be there. The student needs to devote time to attend the classes, do the assignment, and also provide feedbacks. That way it can be interactive going forward. So, but it is still a research area because people have asked this question. It's a research question. How can we make it more interactive than it is? But many educational institutions are coming up with different methodologies in order to make it interactive. What can work here may not work in India. It may not work in, it can work in school A, it may not work in school B. It all depends on how such educational institution is structured, how the a particular learning management system is structured. That will play a big role, and the way the teachers are. So if you upload too much material, you bombard the students with too much materials online, they may find it difficult to read all the materials because it's long. So, but when you do more of direct lectures with them, make videos, receive feedback, give them feedback within how many hours, you make it more responsive, create a chat on it, a forum within the learning management system that enables students to chat their lecturers directly and receive immediate feedback. That way it can be more interactive. So I think it is open for suggestion from other participants as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Any other question?
Okay, very interesting.
Okay, I have allowed all the participants, they can unmute themselves. If you have any query, please, you can ask to Professor Ide.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, Pradhan sir.
Yes, sir. My query is, during this pandemic or in online medium, how or what should be the proper methodology to have a fair evaluation or measurement technique so that we can go for calculate the outcome or the learning of the student?
Okay. Thank you very much for that question. Let me quickly say here that I am not an orator. I mean, I'm not an oracle, the way we say in Africa. Learning is shared. So some of the questions, participants can as well contribute to the answers to these questions. Now, when you talk about waiting the learning outcome of an online learning platform, it is very, very important. And that is why during my lecture, I mentioned the need for cybersecurity research to also strengthen the integrity of online learning platforms, making sure that the students cannot easily compromise it. It cannot easily be hacked. Very, very important, because we know that anything that is done by proxy on the internet is prone to examination malpractice. And the research has shown that the only way for the web to be secured is for the web to be off, provided it is online. Nothing that is online that is 100% secured. And that's why we can hear the US election and all of that, accusation and counter accusations about cyber attack in US, in all over the world, even in my country, Nigeria, like that. So coming to your question now, during the COVID-19, I will talk from experience. Here in Galgotias University, Nigeria, we use our learning management system to assess students during the COVID-19 school closure. And what we did was to make sure that we give practical-based questions, like problem-based questions, and not just theory, things that people can go and copy from the internet. So we make sure that our questions are problem-based in such a way that it is not something that students can easily copy on the internet and paste the answers. No. So we try to give them questions that are related to their field, something that they had to do at home and show results, that this is what they did. For instance, for those who were taking programming courses then, we decided to tell them that, okay, you set such a program to develop an application or to build a website, something that we can see, and then host it and let us see that you have done the assignment. So that way we were able to grade them the outcome of what they have done, what they have learned. So because if we were asking them to just write questions, write papers and submit, they just copy everything. They just copy everything. Some of them can just copy things. They may be lazy and all of that. But the methodology we employed is to make it a practical-based, a problem-based learning, inquiry-based learning, where we give them problems to go and solve in each subject, and then they solve it, they create solutions, they think critically, create solutions, and then they submit the answers. That's what we did, basically, for us at Galgotias University. So it's not a matter of just writing theory exams and then passing the exam and saying you pass. No. We give you a problem, we ask you to locate for a problem within your community that relate to the course you are taking, and then solve it, propose it for us, solve it, and then we go with it. Because it is an issue. How do you assess the learning outcome? And that is why in my research, in my talk, I did mention about areas, things like a grading system. So more research still needs to be done in this regard. Systems that can improve the accuracy of learning outcomes, making sure that the students are able to, to play their part. Because first and foremost, if you want the learning outcomes to improve, you need to motivate the students. The teachers need to do their best first, make sure that there's a teaching excellence, because you don't give what you don't expect what you don't give. So what I'm saying is, by the time the teachers teach very well and the students are motivated to learn very well, the learning outcome is going to be high. But if these things are not in place, some of the students were struggling with internet facilities. So how it affected their learning outcome. So it was very difficult for us then to be able to measure effectively the learning outcome. I must agree with you, because some of the students were in the places where the internet was bad. They were not having access to the platform the way they supposed, and a whole lot of things. And some of them were special students. So, and some of the learning management system did not accommodate some of their disabilities. So it was a bit difficult, I must agree. But for those who were able to relate with, we gave them problem-based questions to go and solve, and then bring results based on the problem they have solved. I'm not just writing questions and then as exam. No, that's what we did at Galgotias University. I don't think any other members of participants can as well contribute to this answer, please.
Okay, any other question? No. Okay, thank you, Professor Ide, to be here and presenting such an informative talk. Now, I would like to request Dr. Sophia ma'am to present a token of appreciation and love from on behalf of Galgotias University.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much. It was an honor and a pleasure to have you with us on this 1 week Indo-Italy workshop on research methodology for all our research scholars. And we are very thankful and grateful that how you have beautifully guided and motivated the young researchers. So this is just a small token of love from us. Please accept it. And we hope that you will continue your, we'll have your cooperation in future as well. Once again, thank you so much, Dr. Michael.
Thank you, Professor, for inviting me. And thank you for this wonderful award. I want to dedicate it to all the wonderful students of Galgotias University and to Galgotias University here in Nigeria. And I want to commend the management of your university for this wonderful workshop. It is expository. It is helpful. I also participate in the other sessions. Myself, I'm going to learn a couple of things. So well done for the good job you are doing.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So dear participants, now it is time to break for the lunch, and after that we will join at 3:15 p.m. to listen the Professor Kumar talk. So please, we are requesting to kindly at 3:15 p.m.
Thank you.